was PC. All right. Got to restart again. What's up, guys? This is a response. I'm a Grandmaster Protoss on the North American ladder. I don't want to waste your time, so I'm going to get right into the replay. But I just want to discuss PvZ a little bit. I know there's been two sides of kind of the discussion. One side thinks that apparently Protoss is very overpowered somehow, and the other side thinks that Protoss is basically unplayable. I am of the opinion that neither side is completely right. I think that Protoss is PvZ right now is very, very hard, and it's in a state where you're forced to play certain styles just to like survive different timings and stuff. But it's not unwinnable. It's probably like a 58 42, 60, 40 matchup, somewhere in that range. So you can still beat, players that you're better than a good chunk of the time. And you can even beat better players that are better than you on occasion. It's just lower those amounts. And then players that are worse than you are going to have a better win rate than you. And that's the best way to look at it. It's not all about just like, 1 or 0. There's a vast different amount of options that can happen in a game. So just blaming it all on balance is kind of not a realistic thing. People make mistakes. Zergs make mistakes all the time. Protoss, as you're playing, you're going to make mistakes. First thing I want to point out about this build is I'm doing a 13 gateway, which is bad economically. However, makes stopping 12 or like 8 pools a little bit easier. So that's just one thing I do that I don't think anybody else does. And if you're at lower levels, I would probably recommend it because stopping pool first builds that are really early are pretty difficult, especially if you're not very good at Zealot micro, and you want the first and second Zealot as quickly as possible. So yeah, I'm going a 13 pool build here. And after the 13 pool, I'm going to scout. I know the common meta thing right now is to block the hatchery, and everybody's blocking the hatchery. But for this build order, I don't think it's necessary. I don't think we really even need to do that. Yeah. So we're scouting his base. We see a hatch first. So we're not worried about any full pool first build. So now we're just going to take a Nexus. We're taking a Nexus at 17 supply before a gas. And again, I'm not saying many people do this either. So this is something it's obviously better mineral income economically. It's gonna, if you're going Stargate, it is gonna delay your Stargate a few seconds. But I think PvZ right now, you just have to cut as many quarters as possible to be as greedy as possible, and I think this is a fair corner to cut. Next, we're going to go 19 core, build one more probe, and then we're going to get our second gas. We're going to put 3 on gas immediately because, we built it late. So we built our second gas, and now we're building our second pylon. Now, second pylon positioning is important here. We're going to build it kind of in the middle between our main and natural most of the time. You can randomize this slightly if the Zerg starts realizing you're always doing this. But I think this is the best spot for it because it requires them to go in as deep as possible to see your tech. And with this build and pretty much any build, I will do a stalker first occasionally. I kind of randomize my first opening unit a bit. Most of the build orders, I do generally get one type of unit. So Stargate builds, you're almost always going to be building Adept, but you can throw out an occasional Stalker first Stargate build, and I think it's fine. It just delays, but it does give a nice little mind game where they might not build the Spore. So yeah, if you build your second pylon between the main and the natural somewhere, it's just going to require the Zerg to go a lot deeper with the Overlord, which is a lot riskier for them, and they could lose it. And, Zergs don't want to lose Overlords. All right. So next we're going to start our stalker right away. No chrono on it. We're just being as greedy as possible on probes. We chrono our probes. We're checking for the third base. He hasn't built it yet. Start your warp gate right after. Right after warp gate, the next thing you're going to get with the next 100 gas is a robo. So we're going robo first here. And even as economically as we've been, we're only up, we're up 5 workers at this point. So that's pretty nice. Now, this is another thing that I think is very important to do. Build pylons on the edges of your base. This is going to help defend against Nidus. And so after the robo, we built a sentry. So a stalker sentry. And this sentry is going to be to scout and also to kill the overlord on the pillar. You're going to, you'll see what I do, but you basically just do the overcharge, and now we can see it, and we're going to kill it. So we're getting a second gateway and a blind battery. I think the blind battery is a 100% requirement to like survive at all in a lot of against some builds. And I think specifically there are some builds that you can't hold at all probably doing this. But I would be like getting attacked like now if they did one of those builds. It's like a 20 drone roach build. Those are incredibly difficult to hold, but I'm not sure. Maybe they're holdable. I don't really know. I don't have very much experience against those. I've only run into it a couple times, and it seemed very hard to hold. So now our robo's done. We're going to be getting a robo bay right away. We're kind of slow on that right now because we're not very good at multitasking. We drop it down, and we're getting an immortal, and we're starting our expansion gases. And we're scouting. We see no gases at the expo. We see no layer. So we know he's not going mutas super fast or a very fast layer. So he most likely has a third base somewhere, I would assume. Second century after the immortal, and this is a very key portion of the build. We're going to start Colossus right when our robo bay finishes, and we're just going to chrono it. And we're going to continually chrono this robo nonstop. Now, as we get money, extra money, we're going to start adding gateways here. We're going to get up to 8 gateways off of 2 bases. And we're just things we're focused on, and we're going to go up to 46 probes. Or 45? 45 probes. Because we want 16 in the main, 16 in the natural, and 1 extra because we're going to bring a probe with us. So it's not 44, which is 2 base saturation. It's 1 extra, so you can bring a probe along to build proxy pylons. Adding additional gateways as money comes, and we just keep and we're kind of slowly trickling out units out of our gateways, but we're not using them very much as of yet because we're trying to have enough gas to build Colossus. So yeah, we're up to our 8 gateways now. Our third Colossus is still being chronoed, and if you chrono these appropriately and you're on time, you should be able to get 3 Colossus right around the 7-minute mark. And now that our third Colossus is built, we're building a lot more units out of the gateways, with sentries and zealots mainly. The one caveat to that is if you see a fast layer, I would send another scout. I would want to know if it's Spire, and in that case, I would build a higher amount of stalkers. Fast muta builds are actually kind of good against this. They can get like 12 or 14 mutas, and if you just have like 1 or 2 stalkers and like not very many sentries, they could just, kill all your ground units. So you have to be aware of that, and if you see that, you have to be building more stalkers earlier with your gas. So now our third this Colossus is just about done. We're going to queue up an observer, have it follow our army, and we're going to start moving out now. We're going to, you don't have to do this. You can just leave a zealot in the wall, but if you're an F2er sometimes like me and you make mistakes with F2, it's probably just fine to wall off so you don't have to worry about it, and you can really focus on your army. And now we're just going to push towards this third base. Yeah, the attack positioning is pretty important. You should just be watching your army the whole time for the most part. And at this point, we're just going to gear up for the attack. We're going to kind of try to wait for our observer so we can clear out creep as we go down, because if you can clear the creep, it's going to make it easier to engage. The next key thing about this is, the biggest key thing about this is just going to be your force fields at this point. If you hit good enough force fields, you know, you should probably be able to win most of the time. In this case, in this game, I hit pretty good force fields. These are much better than my average force fields, I'm not going to lie. And he did even get a good surround on the Colossus and stuff with the Lings, but he just doesn't quite have enough. It's just a very strong push. And so at this point, if you kind of break the first initial fight well enough, we're just going to be warping in additional stalkers with these forward pylons. Kind of what you warp in is kind of judged by what army composition is. He's mainly Roach, so I'm just going to build stalkers. And you know, you're just going to kite away, kind of move and shoot back and forward. It's not that hard to do that portion of it. The force fields are the hard part, and that's been already done. And now we're kind of in his third base. We're about to kill his third base, and we're catching like reinforcements coming from his third base. So it's going to be very hard for him to produce enough units, since he can really only produce safely out of 2 hatcheries. At this point, it's just about over. And that's the build. It's a pretty very easily executable build. It's just mainly a little bit of micro. And I think that this is one of those build orders that has a very high floor for how strong it is, and not quite as high of a ceiling. The one thing that's kind of a skill checker or a differentiator in how well the build's going to execute is basically the force fields you hit. And yeah, that's basically it. And we're just finishing up the game. And with the 8 gateways of reinforcements, you can see how many stalkers I'm able to build, and your GG's out. So that's the build. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this helps with your PVZs a little bit. It's not a build you want to do every game, but I would recommend at least trying it out. Let me know how you like it. Leave any comments or questions in the chat or in the comments below, and maybe I'll make another one at some point. Peace. Hopefully that's saved. I'm going to be so sad if that did not save. I don't know how to be like entertaining. It's really quite a skill. Oh, it didn't save. All right, well, there's another way I can grab this, right? Luckily, I was running YouTube. I'm going to end the YouTube for a second.